Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel, Walking Triumphantly. My name is Fabiola and I'm running the show today. Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel Walking Triumphantly. My name is Fabiola and today I'm going to answer the question of how we met, taking you through a series of questions as I tell my story. My version of the story. I don't know what he's been telling you guys. Yeah, but this is my version of the story. Yeah, so pardon me if I look down here. It's just a few questions that I noted down here just to keep track. Yeah, so our first question is how and where we met. So I met Eben in 2005 in church. Yes, I met in church. And Eben was just this hot-looking dude. No, cut that. So I met Eben in 2005 in church, and Eben was such a loving young man. You know, he was just this nice guy. He was just nice to everyone. What really touched me about Eben was just his love for the Lord, and very passionate about the Word. One thing I remember that was very outstanding was his love for winning souls. He was really a soul winner. He would do a lot of house-to-house visits, just preaching his word and just serving him. So what really touched me about him was his love for the Lord and his passion for winning soul. And he knew the word so much that being a new believer, I would always speak to him and ask questions, and he had a better understanding, I guess, of the scriptures. And he would make it clear and very easy for us to understand. Yeah, so that was just our relationship back then, just brother and sister in church, nothing special. Yeah, fast forward, so after grade 12 I didn't do so well. I had to move in with a pastor and his family while I was upgrading my points. And Eben used to visit a lot. The pastor, obviously not me, used to visit the pastor a lot because the pastor had a lot of materials such as books, Christian books, audio Bibles, videos and stuff like that. So he used to come a lot to make use of those resources. And one other thing, he also used to love cartoons. Like, I was just like, what's wrong with this guy? He would come to watch cartoons and mind his own business. You know, I would be home, but he would just be there in the sitting room watching his things, and off he goes. But during those visits, our relationship also grew. We grew, yeah. We knew each other a little bit more than 2 years ago, yeah, when I met him. So, upon one of those visits that he would normally come in and out in the pastor's house, 2007, December, he came. That was early December, I think, yeah. He came, and for the first time we sat and really just spoke, like telling the stories of our, I was actually the one doing most of the talking. I was just telling him the story of my life, how I even ended up in the pastor's house. And I think what amazed me was just this listening ear. He was really listening, not interrupting or anything. He was just there sitting and really just listening. And very interestingly, after that conversation, or while we were busy talking, I just knew. So like I said earlier, Eben was such a nice, loving guy. Knowing him a little bit longer, I was like, well, this guy is really nice, you know, he's a cool dude. So I was like, I don't mind, I wouldn't mind being married to a guy like him. But you know, those are just my thoughts and, you know, girly stuff. Keep them to yourself kind of thing. Yeah, so, well, I would say I liked him. Like, as much as Eben would tell this story different, I know he will. His version is very different, but yeah. The day we sat and spoke, somehow I got a confirmation, or I just knew that this thing was mutual then. But, you know, he didn't say anything, so how do I know that he likes me, kind of thing. So let's leave it there. What happened after our conversation was that we're traveling to Zimbabwe for a church conference, but in different cars. So we got there before Eben because they went via Chicago for a wedding. So we got the news of the accident and how bad he was, and that he was the only one really injured in the accident. So when I heard that news, I was really devastated. I was so hurt, and I just wanted to come see him. I don't know what it was that would change everything if I saw him, but I just wanted to come see him. And that wouldn't happen until the conference was over. That was like a whole week that we still had to be there. So fast forward, finally we arrived in Namibia. I couldn't see him in the hospital because I had to stay with the kids, as they were not told about the accident and they needed to be prepared. These were the pastor's kids with whom I was living at the time. Yeah, so eventually I went to see him, and seeing him in that state was very devastating. He was having metals screwed on his head, and he was just looking so bad, and you know, I couldn't cry there in front of him, but it was really sad seeing him in that position, knowing him such a vibrant, joyous person in that condition was not a nice sight. Yeah, anyway, so he was in the hospital for half a year. Yeah, so I continued visiting him. I continued taking him spinach. I knew he loved spinach because he would enjoy it so much every time he came to visit the pastor. So in fact, I made sure that for every visit he came, there was some spinach left, so he would enjoy it. So I took spinach a few times. I visited him, and yeah, I just continued being a friend. We continued just sharing. He would tell me what the Lord was teaching him, and yeah, he became a pillar of strength, really, because I was going through so much at the time. So he was just that friend that would encourage, and seeing him pushing, even though that happened to him, he just lost his mobility like that, and you know, he still was fighting and kicking and, you know, laughing even. Like, I don't know how it would be if something like that happened to me. Yeah, but anyway, we continued with our friendship. 6 months passed and he was finally home. I continued visiting him, and his parents actually knew my parents. Yeah, in fact, we realized that we were actually from the same villages. Yeah, so he was just a friend, and okay, I knew I loved him, and I knew I loved him in a different way, and that was confirmed by the last conversation we had before the accident, even though it was not kind of voiced out. Yeah, because he didn't ask me out then. Now that he was in the accident and he's now on a wheelchair, how would that change things for us? Were a few questions I would ask myself. Were one of the questions I would ask myself. Yeah, but I just continued being attracted to this guy, and at times I would ask myself like, what is it that I love about this guy? So this was the new Eben when I visited him at home now. So he would need help for most of the time. One that was dependent on the wheelchair, and yeah, I'm just trying to paint the picture of the Eben then and the Eben now that I met, that I came to visit at home. Yeah, but anyway, none of that changed my attraction to him. I still loved him. I still knew that that's the guy I loved. Yeah, but in character he was still the same guy, same loving and caring guy. Nothing changed in his character, so I guess still loved him all the same. Yeah, even though things were gonna be different if we decided to get involved. So our relationship continued with me visiting him and just growing as friends, I guess. Yeah. Until 2011, February, when Eben called me over. Actually this day he didn't wait for me to come visit like I would normally visit. He called me over. He said he had something to tell me, and I was like curious to know what is it that this guy can't wait for the next visit. So I get there and he was all nervous. Like, what's going on? What's wrong? What do you want to talk about? And then so he tells me about his feelings for me. I was very excited to finally hear his side of the story, because I thought it was all me. All along it was just me having my own things going on in my mind, that this guy actually likes me or something like that. But yeah, it was very good to finally hear that he actually loves me too, and that he would love to start a life with me. So I was very excited and I accepted the proposal. I said yes. So that was the beginning of our love relationship, 2011, yeah. And well, I was then ready, because I was now in my second year university, and but I wasn't ready for marriage. I was ready to start a love relationship then, because I kind of knew what I wanted to do with my life at the time. Yeah, so I accepted his proposal. Also, this meant that we are not just in a relationship to wind time, or we are not in a relationship to end it somewhere along the way when we feel like I don't have feelings for you anymore, kind of thing. But we were entering a relationship that the end result would be marriage. So yeah, but then I still wanted to complete my studies before getting married. So in our next video we'll talk about our love relationship, the joys, the challenges we encountered, and how we dealt with them through to our wedding, and the challenges that came with that. Yeah, so just a reminder, if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe, like, share, and comment if you would like us to answer some questions, or if you would like to suggest topics that we would like us to talk about. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Ta-da!